And tonight, finally, we're talking about The Third Man from 1949, directed by Carol Reed. Tagline for the film, hunted by men, sought by women.
Ooh.
And the synopsis from Letterboxd. Set in post-war Vienna, Austria, The Third Man stars Joseph Cotton as Holly Martins, a writer of pulp westerns who arrives penniless as a guest of his childhood chum Harry Lime, only to find out he's dead. Martins develops a conspiracy theory after learning of a quote-unquote third man present at the time of Harry's death, running into interference from British officer Major Calloway and falling head over heels for Harry's grief-stricken lover, Anna. That's it. That's all that happens in this movie.
Yes, that is quite true.
That is something that happens in the movie, I suppose. Anyway, so Third Man, again, digging deep back into my past with the Criterion Collection. This I think I watched for the first time on videotape because it was like this really well-regarded movie by like Roger Ebert and stuff like that. It appears on lots of best of lists. It's black and white. It looks noir-y. I think like the Criterion DVD, it's got like the Orson Welles on the cover. Like, spoiler alert. So yeah, it's just one of those movies that I wanted to watch, and I watched it back when. Thought it was pretty neat, and I liked it for the most part. It's not like one of my favorite movies by any means. It's not like I have to feel like I need to watch The Third Man tonight. That doesn't cross my mind ever. So it's been a while since I've watched this movie, and for this episode we watched it, and I feel pretty well the same way. I think this movie's good. I have no real problems with it at all. I think it's probably most iconic for like two things. One is the score, the zither, which like is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome how it's used, all the variations of it, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing is like Orson Welles' big speech at the kind of like near the end of the second act about cuckoo clocks. Everyone, if you look up this movie, everyone talks about the cuckoo clock speech, and how Graham Greene, who wrote the movie, wrote the book that turned into the movie, he's like a very famous writer of spy stuff. Everyone talks about Graham Greene, and he says it was all Orson Welles because Orson Welles is a genius, RJ, as discussed when we talked about Citizen Kane ages ago.
Correct.
So I don't know. That's my quick thoughts on The Third Man. I've got more to say, but RJ, I throw the ball to you. What did you think of The Third Man here on your first viewing?
I made a mistake, and I watched The Sixth Man, starring Marlon Wayans, as a recently deceased brother of a college basketball player who comes back to help them win the NCAA championship. My thoughts on that movie are it's a certified classic. Everybody likes it. I watched it when I was a little kid on the VHS all the time, and it is a good movie.
Huh.
But, I'm stalling for time because it's a short episode.
I thought maybe you'd watch The Fourth Man, directed by Paul Verhoeven by accident.
No, my joke stands. I was talking about The Sixth Man.
I know. There's like,
okay.
Is there a fifth man?
There's possibly. You look that up.
There's a Fifth Wave, which was written by King
Alien
movie.
It's an alien movie.
There is a novel, a futuristic Christian novel.
Oh, nice. That's the kind of stuff we should get into. Anyways,
Second Man.
I did watch this movie, Jarrett, for the first time. What's The Second Man about?
It looks like some sort of John Grisham kind of court drama book.
Is there a The Man?
Well, you mean like The First Man? There is an Albert Camus novel.
Okay.
And then there's The First Men, which are characters in Game of Thrones. And there is a movie called First Man that's coming out in 2018 about Neil Armstrong.
Oh, well, I guess that's something that exists.
And then there's The Seventh Seal.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Good No, I watched this for the first time. I don't think I've seen any of this guy Carol Reed's movies. So
Probably not.
I don't know what that means, but
we'll watch another one day. Odd Man Out. That's in the collection.
Cool. That came off cold or callous, but it wasn't meant to.
And I have talked about him before because he directed Oliver,
Oh, right, right,
the
right.
musical of Oliver Twist.
Yeah. This guy, this Carol Reed. Um, so first time watch, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. There were some times where there were dips and walls, and I was like, I don't know why this movie gets all that great buzz. And then there would be another scene that was really cool, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I guess, like I get it. That's all to say. I didn't love it. I don't think I might watch this again one day. I don't know if I will though. I did think it was really good. I thought they did some cool stuff. I think the best part that I liked the most was I think they do this like dynamic camera where they don't really use the same shots over.
Do you know what that's called, RJ?
No, what is that called?
Some call it the Dutch angle.
Oh,
I believe Dutch cant angle. Oh my god, it's like that. Oh, man, if you read about this movie, people.
Okay,
love
well, I
to
don't
talk
want
about
to.
It.
Okay, well, anyways, as a guy who had no idea what that was, I did pick up on it. I guess I was like, oh, that's neat. Because it's like two guys talking, but then whenever it switches back, it's a different angle, and I was like, cool. So I liked that.
Did it make you feel that this was a world out of sorts?
No. Nope. No, I didn't feel that, and I just barely. I don't look up reviews for the movies before we talk about them. Mm-hmm. But I was just on the Letterboxd page, and I just saw like a couple of the top ones, and a lot of them were like expertly tense and suspenseful, and I was like, not really.
No.
I was like, maybe in like 1912 when this fucking movie came out. I didn't think it was like suspenseful at all. I thought this movie was like really like Seinfeldy, like ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Like guys like, oh no, like gets into like weird situations.
Yeah.
The first thing I actually wrote down, like in the intro when they're explaining like the way the city works, I was like, is this Wes Anderson? Because I feel foreshadowing, but I was like, I feel like this is a movie that he fucking loves, because there's kind of the montage where it's like, in the city, there are these people, and there are these people, and then it's like quick shots of close-ups of things happening, and then like wide shots, and I was like, this is like a Wes Anderson movie.
There's also sort of like the ironic statements of like, and then some people don't wind up doing well for themselves, and there's this body floating in the water and stuff like that. Yeah. No, like the movie like absolutely is like it is very comedic. Like it's like, and I think it's totally intentional. So I mean, this idea that's like a great suspenseful thriller, it's like no, it's not. The zither, like some people, we'll talk about the people who ate that zither, but
so I didn't think it was suspenseful at all. I thought it was like fun. Like it's kind of like a bubbly movie, because you don't ever really feel like there's any danger there. I don't know if you're supposed to. Yeah. Like maybe at like
the end.
Maybe when Orson Welles almost pushes that dude out of the Ferris wheel. But other than that, I was like, no, it's like a bubbly, like quirky detective movie, and I was it really did remind me of Wes Anderson. I was like, I bet he loves this shit.
Yeah, well, because like this movie, like I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, it totally fits between like, so there was like sort of like the Hitchcock 30 spy stuff, so like stuff we already talked about, like 39 Steps, Lady Vanishes, and then like it's kind of bookended by Charade, which is like a decade after this. But all those movies are like spy movies to various degrees, or like espionage or kind of like underworld, and but they're also like fairly comedic. Like they're light at time for the most part.
This actually reminded me of 39 Steps a lot, because to the point where I thought that some of the sets might have been even the same, because there's where he like goes up to give that speech. I was like, is that the same area that was in 39 Steps? No, it really looks like it.
Well, I think it's just maybe similarity of like architecture, because this actually was shot on location in Vienna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in jolly old England.
Jolly England. So like I thought 39 Steps too. I thought it was very similar to that. I don't know. Like, I thought it looked really good,
Oh
and I
yeah.
did like the score. I liked the use of it throughout. I liked the, as you called them, Dutch rudder angles and all those things. um, like I liked all that, and I thought like the story was interesting enough. Like it didn't seem like, I know that's probably something that's been copied a lot, that I've probably seen a lot, but when I was watching it, I didn't feel burdened by it, like being like, sometimes when we watch these movies, it's like, ah, man, I've seen this story so much, and it's like, I'm sure this is the original one, but it's so played out by this point. Like, popular culture has diminished my enjoyment of these things.
Right.
I know I've talked about other movies like that before on this.
Because was
show.
there at any point, because you've seen this movie for the first time, was there any point where like, oh, Harry Lime's dead? Like, other than you were told that, you're like, no,
No.
I'm pretty sure he's
No.
Orson Welles because I haven't seen him in this yet, and he's gonna
Yeah.
show up. So all this
Yeah.
is because he doesn't show up till a good hour or so into the movie. That's like when he gets the big reveal with the kitty.
So yeah, I guess it's one of those Matrix moments where it's like ignorance is bliss, because it's like, if you didn't know who Orson Welles was, you would have never been expecting him, I guess.
But would
And then
that
maybe it
scene
would
have
have
the same
surprised you.
gravitas? Other than like the music's really good when they do the reveal, and he's like bemused, caught me in an act sort of thing. I don't know.
No, I just like the kitty.
Yeah, that's a good cat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we don't do the kitty for the picture, one of my notes was soup lady, and I timestamped it. So this was, as we've forgot to do last week, my timestamp for this movie.
We've
was
actually forgot to do it
36.
for the last two movies.
Well, that's what happens when I suggest something. It gets forgotten easily.
But the
by
reason
me.
why is because I have not timestamped any of the
Timestamp.
last two movies because they've all been
Right.
so good. That being
Yeah.
said,
Yeah,
go on.
what was your timestamp for this movie?
1 hour and 20 minutes because I was
Okay.
curious because it was during the Ferris wheel speech. Because I was
Yeah.
like, how long into the movie is this scene?
Is this?
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay. That's like, and there's only 20 minutes of the movie after that. And you're like, okay, so Orson Welles is like barely in this movie where like he defines he's the title character, by God.
Right. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I timestamped at 36.
See, you know what?
Oh,
Skype doesn't want to hear it. Skype does not want to
They
hear
cut
what you
that out
said.
again?
Yeah, Skype is editing you, man.
Okay, well, damn it, I will be heard. It was 36 minutes and 50 seconds because at that point I wrote a note that said soup lady, because I think there's a really funny scene where it just shows a lady eating soup, and I was like, I like that, and I want to make a note of this.
Okay.
So that's my hot timestamp, was when a lady was eating soup. Yeah, I don't know, like what I was saying, like, I don't feel like the story is too like, I didn't find it like overly predictable in like a negative way. Like I enjoyed watching it, and even at points where it's like, I think it will turn out like this, and then like some of those things do turn out, and you're like, okay. It didn't really bring me down. It didn't bring me down. I don't know. Like, my point is, I enjoyed it, but like, I think it is good. I just don't really love it. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say that I love it either. I think it's it's a really good movie, but like it's not one of those movies where it's like one of my favorites by any means. And I know it's some people's favorites, and then I also know some people don't love this movie. The one thing I wanted to check with you though is, have you seen Casablanca?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that movie was very par. 3 out of 5.
Okay, so I would say that with Casablanca, that movie gets better. You actually gave it 3.5 stars, RJ.
Okay.
So
That-
that's a
yeah.
movie that gets better the more you watch it and like maybe understand the context that it was made in. Like, because I was
Don't say that.
no, it's true. Like when I was watching the Best Picture winners of that period of time, and I went back and watched that movie, that was early last year. I was like, oh, this movie finally clicks with me. I finally get it,
Okay.
because I just didn't understand like the world it was set in, and that's kind of like,
Sure.
I don't know. I think that's gonna be a problem that movie has. But like anyway, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But I found that like Third Man is very Casablanca-y in its style, because there's like the same sort of like authority character that's kind of like hindering and also assisting the main character. There's a woman that belongs to another man, and the main character is never going to have her. There's sort of these slimy scumbags that are hanging around. There's like an undercurrent of like the black market in a war or in this movie post-war environment. And like that's the other thing that's kind of neat about this movie is like it's shot like what 5 years after, like, or God, not even like 3-4 years after World War II's just ended. So like the destruction of Vienna and like the just buildings just crushed all over the place. That's all very real. Like that's exactly what the movie looks like. Carol Reed, the director, and Graham Greene, the writer, they're both like in this field. They were both like in the intelligence, and so they knew what they're talking about. They did their time.
Yep.
So the movie has that grimness, I guess, that you would expect of sort of like that post-war generation, but it's done with a smile on the face, and that's what I like about that score, that zither string, that just like totally like makes this movie. I guess I was reading from Ebert's great movie essay that I guess Carol Reed had to fight the producer, old David O. Selznick, on everything that keeps this movie from being forgotten in a week. So just like all like the little decisions, like having the score the way it is, the lead actor. It's like all like the ending of the movie, all the stuff that he's like, no, we have to keep it like this. We got to do it like this. And he's like, no. The producer, of course, is like fighting on it. So this movie could have been a Dark Tower of its time, a movie that nobody cared about and no one went to see, or no one talks about.
That's actually a good example when you brought up Casablanca. That's what I was saying. Like that, I was underwhelmed by it because when I watched it, I was like, man, I've seen like every scene in this movie parodied or like copied in other movies, and it really kind of took away from the impact of the movie itself. It's like I know exactly what's going to happen in this fucking movie. I've never even seen it. I just know it from seeing it in other places.
Right.
Where so like in The Third Man, there were things like that. It's like, yeah, I know kind of this game, but it didn't affect me negatively. So I guess that's a good thing.
I think Terry Gilliam likes this movie because there's like a couple of Brazil references in this.
Oh,
yeah, because what's his name? Charles Keown's character, he's Harry Lime, as well as like the hard British man who means no harm kind of character, like because there's like the one sergeant who's like very nice, and he's like, I've read your books, and but he'll punch you out if you do anything, if you step out of line, he'll like put the boots to you, which is very similar to those the SWAT team. Black beggar guys that are in Brazil who are having their very casual conversation, who are like trying to tell Jonathan Pierce to calm down, please sir, please sit down, and they just knock them the fuck out and go back to their conversation. Very English. I think I also liked his bit though, where they're talking about the Hindu dances, where it's like they call it the striptease. And there's like just like I don't know, I always love watching movies like this because they have such great character actors everywhere, where you're just like these people are just like not anyone in particular. You wouldn't necessarily remember them unless you watch a lot of movies from the same like couple like 5-year window and be like, oh, it's that guy. He's like this, like he's that scumbag. He's like the doctor. And it's just like there's so many great variety of faces. Whereas nowadays, when movies get made, it's like the same people for like a decade, and it's always the same actors. And it's like, oh, let's get Michael Shannon for that. And it's just like, oh, come on.
Yep. Yeah, well, people love Michael Shannon.
They do.
Yeah, so I get it.
What did you think of the old penicillin scam? That's kind of a new one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking meningitis, vaccinations. Oh shit. Yeah, that was a little bit new for me. I don't know how you water down penicillin, but I guess there's a way to do it.
Jesus, what are you doing over there? Quit moving your microphone.
I'm not even doing anything, man. You're so sensitive. I listened to the last episode. I didn't hear my mic moving, so.
Okay.
You listeners out there, you let me know if what I do upsets you.
The animal.
The audacity.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. What were we talking about?
I guess you take the penicillin and you mix it up with some baking soda, and then you give it out to those kids that need it, and then they all become monsters that can't even be shot on film.
It's like cutting Coke and crack with baking soda.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive, Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is that enough for you to like be like, we gotta put this guy behind bars? This guy who's faked his death. He killed his buddy. He's buried him, thinking that he's dead, and he's just overall hanging out with the Russians.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Like he killed people, right?
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
So like, yes.
But what if it was me?
Oh, I wouldn't even. I would do it myself. Like I would kill the people and then tell them it was you, just to get you out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Another thing was the writing on the window a la Lady Vanishes, because there's a bit where he breathes on the window and he writes Anna in it. And I was like, oh, is that going to be how they say, look, he's alive? No, that was just me misremembering things, because that didn't even happen in Lady Vanishes. It was more just like, oh, she really was real, like, because she left that there, and that proves it for him, for those two characters.
And it was like, what if that's how it ended, though? At the end, it was just like, Harry Lime was really dead. Mm-hmm. You were killing all these people.
You, the audience.
You, the audience. You're the real monster.
But so yeah, the final chase in this movie is really good, though. Like,
yeah, it's pretty dope.
In the sewers of Vienna, it's like pretty awesome, beautifully shot. I don't even know, like, you gotta imagine like hauling those cameras down. Chanel actually pointed this out, because she like kind of like was coming and going throughout the movie, and then she like sat down and watched that whole sequence, because she was just like marveling at like, man, they're like shooting this in sewers, and they're like shooting like this with massive cameras in like all that moisture, and it still looks so great. And it works so well. And then, yeah, the big final shot where things all come full circle with the movie, with him leaving the cemetery with Anna walking behind. And then he's like, no, it can't end like this. And then he stops, and the camera just stops, and the scene plays out so great. I think it's a really great moment, and it's probably why people do talk about this movie so much, is sometimes if you end the movie with just the right note, which most movies like struggle to do to this day. Because usually they, I don't know, Bruce Willis drinking in a bar by himself.
Death Wish style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbreakable style.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, this movie's got a great ending, final chase. So, all those factors, like, I don't know. I like this movie, but I don't know. It's like, it's just not my type of story at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's kind of how I felt. Like, I liked it. I just, I'm not in like with it. Do you know what I mean?
That's how you millennials talk, I guess, these days.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a good movie. I just don't love it. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
Great. I also liked the one comment or the review on Letterboxd you liked.
Oh, yeah, actually, I was gonna bring this up for who hates this movie. Is that where we're at now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about who hates this movie.
So my personal favorite, there's a guy I follow on Letterboxd called Justin Tot Katzen. And I believe he has very similar taste to us. He usually likes similar movies we like. Anyways, his review was just more like The Turd Man, and that is grade A quality humor. That's really good. I like that quite a bit.
Well, we'll see.
So, how did you respond with that?
I was over at Corey's house when I read that, and I shared it with Corey and Lawrence, and they both just laughed. And Corey was like, "That's a troll. That's a troll."
Yeah. Even if it's not, if that's his honest to God review, I like it. I dig it.
Yeah.
That's super funny.
Okay. So here we got Pointing Chariot. He gave this movie 2 stars. And there's not that many really, really negative ones on this movie that actually have reviews that are worth reading. There are quite a few decent shots, but the overbearing and repetitive score, that singularly irritable zither track, yikes, ruins the film at every turn. A complete tonal mess, especially palpable during the sewer chase at the end. Wells has a few snappy lines, but the quality of the acting and the writing is otherwise unremarkable. Characterization feels lacking. A lot of the characters seem to behave in a very labored way and act according to the dubious motives. Cotton's character looks like he's being dragged along. Not a much to the other story, other than a few. I'm reading what Reddit wrote. Not a much to the story other than a few plot twists that generate as much tension and suspense as would the opening of a box of cereal. Just dull.
Huh? Okay. Okay.
Sometimes I go back and read some of my old reviews where I didn't like proofread, and I wrote them late at night, and I'm like, God damn, this is horrible. But
you're like, I'm on someone else's podcast getting made fun of.
Yeah, people who can't write on Letterboxd. Anyway, I don't know. whatever. This person didn't like the movie, but I always love these people who have to get some pithy comment about this movie's got this much suspension as opening a box of cereal, as they raise their pinky to their side of their mouth.
It's like, get over yourself, nerd.
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 Ratson King gave this movie 2 stars as well.
Ooh.
I really didn't like this movie. The story was beyond basic and predictable. Beyond.
Oh.
The acting wasn't that good besides Orson Welles. And the music, oh my god, the music in this movie did not fit the tone and story of the movie at all, in my opinion, and really got on my nerves.
I don't think that's right. I think it all fit fairly well.
Which is not fair because the music is actually pretty good.
Yeah. The music was good, and I thought it really fit the tone of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the movie without that music. Like, that music is fantastic. I've seen a few people mention that they found it weird listening to it because it's, I guess, like the same music as in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, maybe...
Well, what does that mean?
What?
Why? How is that like SpongeBob's?
Because
I'm confused.
They've used that music does get used in SpongeBob SquarePants, and they just think of SpongeBob SquarePants when they watch this movie.
Oh,
now. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a classic piece of music. Anthony Kiedis score, Anton Kiedis. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. It's music. Music gets used in all sorts of things. But it did not fit the tone at all, and the movie kept beating you over the head with it, which was so annoying. I expected much more from this movie and just was very disappointed.
I'm disappointed in the quality of comments that are on
they're all the same.
This thing.
Everyone hates the score.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Or they talk about SpongeBob.
You know, that's the trend that we find, hey? A lot of people just glob off of each other. Oh, well, the riff tracks said this. Shut up, nerds.
Yeah, otherwise Bully RJ will punch you.
Yeah, I'll take you out. I don't care.
Yeah.
I ain't politically correct. I'll bring you down.
Yeah.
Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Brother.
Oh, my God. So, I'm tired. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, well, we talk for fucking ever.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta stop doing this.
After the break, RJ guns me down in the sewer, and I'm dead.
You had it coming.
But he doesn't get the girl.
Oh.